It's just a nice way to start.
Narcissism. We should preface by saying that this is not a...
We have no professional dance training.
I've got a little bit.
You have training in narcissism?
Well, yeah, like somewhat, This isn't an extensive overview of everything to do with narcissism.
This is our non-professional personal opinions about narcissism.
Well, no, this definitely comes from my professional,
I have no professionalism.
Yeah, I want to I think it's important to dispel some of the myths and just like it's a real popular topic right now, it's like a buzzword. You hear it a lot. You hear a lot of people talking about, so-and-so's a narcissist and
Can we just bring this closer?
Yeah.
Just rearrange.
I'll do this first. Still learning.
Learning curve.
I hear it a lot with my clients, Okay, right. A lot of people will talk about narcissism.
From I am or an I'm with. Or there's a person in my life that is narcissist.
Yeah, just using it in a way that's a little bit too willy-nilly, I feel like. That person's a narcissist or... Yeah, and I think that's just, it's too simplified of a way to look at it. It's like saying someone's an alcoholic, but there's differing everyone's on the spectrum if you use alcohol or if you're abusing it, of significant alcoholic, and even within that there's varying
functional alcoholic, there's so many different ways.
Yeah, binge drinker, everyday drinker. Some people drink a little bit, and I think narcissism is a similar thing. It exists on a spectrum, and we all of us have narcissistic wounding is how I would look at it, And that's what I think is well, maybe I'll let you go first with what you kind of know or how you understand it.
Well, I think what you just said about narcissistic wounding, I remember having a conversation with you in the car about narcissism, and I think I said something I don't really understand narcissism. What is narcissism? Because I think it is thrown around so
loosely.
But I'm what really truly is narcissism? And I think maybe you had said something about we all have narcissistic traits, and it made me reflect on do I have narcissistic traits? And I think I straight up asked you do I have narcissistic traits? And that's just not... I was trying to think about that objectively for myself, and it was hard for me to notice any traditional narcissistic traits in myself. And I was do I have blind spots with that, or is that just not as much in my nature and I have different wounding? But yeah, I feel narcissism is something that is more on the rise in conversation, and it is to say someone is a narcissist is, I think you said, to say someone is an alcoholic. I personally could be considered someone with alcohol abuse and challenges, and that's why I'm sober, but I'm not necessarily an alcoholic in comparison to other kind of standards or what you would picture. And so I think we can all imagine a really hardcore narcissist, but the subtle narcissism that comes out is so confusing to me, I guess. I feel you can pick it out a lot more you notice it more. And it's honestly probably because I've been around more narcissists than I even can really conceptualize. Like I feel like I am a victim of narcissism in some ways, and like have gotten swept up in narcissistic traits, and I don't realize that they are narcissistic, whereas you can have a bit more of an objective point of view of just being like, that's what that is. Does that seem fair to say? Like,
no, totally, I think so.
It's a hard one for me to conceptualize, and I think sometimes it's like friends and I were talking the other day about like, it's hard to understand why someone is being shitty to you, like in a separate conversation, because goes so against our very people-pleasy tendencies. And so I think narcissism is also one of those ones that I'm like, I can't put myself in that mindset very easily, so it's hard for me to conceptualize what it is sometimes.
Which mindset?
Being a narcissist, or having or having more of narcissistic tendencies.
So you're saying you have none?
Well, you told me I didn't have any, so
I think I told you that there are like, we all do.
We all do,
in my opinion. Like, I think, and this is like the way that it was, I think this is a part of it that is often missed, and a good way to conceptualize it is like when you think of a child, like children are inherently narcissistic. Think about about a 2-year-old, like the terrible two thing, right? Like when you look at like a child, like a young child's behavior, they are incredibly narcissistic. They're very selfish. It's like, if I don't get this, I'm going to throw a friggin' tantrum. Like it's me. It has to happen now. Often like manipulating the situation. And like, kids aren't doing this maliciously. This is just like, it's developmentally where they're at. Like developmentally, narcissism is natural. It's a natural developmental stage to move through that selfish sort of me behavior into a more considering of your feelings, considering of whatever, considering how my actions are affecting you instead of just looking out for my own needs.
Well, and it's such a survival aspect in that way for a young child to be narcissistic. Like they have to be that way to survive and have their needs met because they can't take care of themselves. So I need.
Yeah.
Whereas then as later on, it's like, okay, but you need to be able to fulfill that yourself.
Yeah, but that's a good way to like look at it, because they can't fulfill their own needs, so they need the caregiver to respond to them in positive, like socially positive ways. So the narcissism can naturally over time kind of like subside and give way to more empathetic viewpoints and just like a more socialistic kind of like altruistic way of being, But if you don't have a caregiver who is like super responsive and who knows how to deal with that like tantrumy, real selfish behavior, like if you shame a child for doing that, it will actually enhance the behavior. It will enhance the narcissism,
Specifically just with narcissism, the shame?
Well, like that, like any developmental stage, if you don't respond to that behavior properly, then that behavior never gets a chance to like express itself and therefore be healed. Like anger, like you can think of like narcissistic manipulation. Like everyone can probably relate to, maybe not everyone, but you can probably relate to a situation where you feel like you've encountered a narcissist and they have manipulated you, So if you think of a child doing that, like a 4-year-old trying to manipulate like the young little sweet girl that we know, right? Like she's not a narcissist, but like she does, like there's been times where it's like, she's just trying to get her way. You know what I mean? But she's not doing it maliciously. It's just what she knows to get what she needs.
Yeah.
So if she like wants like that extra cookie, it's like, no, I need that extra cookie. I need it to do this and I need it. Like I must, like, if you don't give it to me, you know what I mean? Like all the ways. If you respond to her and you say, that's not fair. That's blah, blah, blah. And if you really like hammer on that, it'll enhance it. She'll fight back.
Oh, okay. I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead, if you were to be like, I hear you. Like, I really hear that you want that extra cookie. Like, you really, really want it. And that's okay. It's okay to want that. And no more cookies today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can be like neutral and calm and kind, I'm not saying that like parenting can always be that way and we can't always be that way. That's not the point. The point is that it is actually a naturally occurring thing. You know, like developmentally, at least.
Narcissism is a naturally occurring thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a developmental stage in a way. And so when you think about like people who are narcissistic as adults or fall under the, and again, like narcissistic personality disorder is a DSM diagnosis, you know, it's like, and that's more like, I kind of know that, but it's like, I don't even know the exact specifications or the criteria you have to hit. And like the DSM really was created just for healthcare practitioners to have common language on like groupings of behaviors that they would experience, you know? It's not like something built into you. It's something that we decided was a thing based on, right?
Yeah.
But there are like commonalities that you'll see. But if you don't have a caregiver that responds well to that behavior, it will enhance it. So many, like, again, going back to what I was saying, like, if you experience a narcissistic person in adulthood who is like constantly manipulating, very selfish, always out for their own needs, what that really probably indicates is that as a child, none of those natural narcissistic needs were met. You know, because when they showed them, their parents, probably through their own selfish sort of narcissistic tendencies, would shut that down or shame it, which in a way creates this narcissistic wounding. Or the way that like Jen has phrased it to me is like, you get frozen in time. It's almost like that like 4-year-old part of you, that selfish part, never got a chance to fully express itself and do what it needs to do to express to the point of sort of healing or understanding that. So it's like, it's frozen. It's just there. It's stuck, you know?
I think that's why it's hard for me, to see narcissism in people.
Yeah.
Like I think we've had conversations where you've said like, well, that's a narcissistic behavior. And I'm like, what? I've never thought of it that way.
Like, do you have an example?
I feel like
Without giving names. We forgot our whiteboard. Just say it and then I'll bleep it.
I feel like someone who looks like an orc might. I'm pretty sure you said something about them being narcissistic. And I was like,
for sure.
I've never seen it in that way before. I still kind of like have a hard time because I think I've associated hearing so many people be like, that person's a narcissist, right? And being like, well, they don't fit into that category.
Why didn't you think they fit into that category?
Well, this is what I think is the block for me when it comes to noticing narcissistic tendencies is because I can empathetically understand why they are the way that they are. I can see why they are, where the hurt comes from, especially with this person who I knew for years and like other friends that I've had, right? That I'm like, well, I know that they're being cruel to me because their parents were cruel to them. And I know that they feel stupid, so they're just avoidant in this behavior because they don't want to feel stupid again, right? And so I think it's hard for me to name someone, and I don't think it's necessarily a good thing that we just are labeling people as being narcissists.
No, it's
right?
it simplifies.
It's so generalized and harmful. But I think that's where I have a hard time able to see like, oh, like that is a wound. And that person is, I mean, whenever we talk about he who shall not be named, like it's still hard for me to not be in that mode of like making excuses for their behavior because I was in that caring space with them and I could see why they were. But you as an outsider are able to be like, yes, and that is narcissistic. Yeah. That is unkind. That is this. That's not an excuse. Somewhere in there's a conscious choice being made. Or I'm participating in the enablement of that behavior, you know?
I don't even know if it was a conscious choice, more as if just like, a behavior that served that person that was never checked properly. You know, like the way that he treated you was the way that he had to learn how to be in this world. And it had to be narcissistic in his environment growing up for him to get through that environment. Unfortunately, it was never corrected. It was never met with love and like in a good way. So he continued to do that.
And I think, sorry.
Well, that like, it wasn't okay the way he treated you, you know, like that, it doesn't excuse it. And I think like, I want to make that clear. Like narcissistic behavior is not good for anyone. It's not, but it's natural. It's not good for like us as a society as a whole, for relationships. But like, I think the focus that I like to draw to it is like, it's an indication of wounding, which is an indication of just like a deeper hurt. Like if someone is being narcissistic, that is a hurt part of them essentially expressing itself. And that doesn't make it good. That doesn't mean that people should put up with it or that it should even be like, they are responsible for that behavior. Yeah. But if you're in a relationship, for example, and you're trying to make that relationship work and like there's good, healthy parts, you know, like if you're with someone and they're fully fucking narcissistic and it's all the time, get away. If they're not doing the work, get away from that person. But if like with you and I, like we often will work through our own narcissistic stuff. And I can give my examples all day. Cause like it happens for me often, you know, mine comes in more of like just blaming you for things that really aren't your fault and that really just have to do with my stuff. And that's often where it comes through is like, when someone's being narcissistic, they are putting it on the other person. They're manipulating them or they're blaming them or they're just like, they're putting their stuff on them, but they don't realize that it's actually like, this is actually something going on with you.
And I think that's what it is like, it's the same with when we talk about like, I have anxiety. Well, like I do, I have anxious parts of me and I have traumas that create anxiety, but I am not a whole being of anxiety.
It's a part.
And I think that's the
like narcissism,
the spectrum of narcissism where there are people in the world who truly are like narcissistic in that kind of stereotypical way that I think we think. Yeah. And then there's the spectrum of people that have narcissistic traits that come from wounding. And yet, just like any of our wounds and those spaces that are hurt and maladaptive and all of the ways that we want to look at that, it's not our fault that those things happened. We can understand, we can have empathy that those things happened in our childhood or whatever that have led to this behavior. And then it's our adult responsibility to be able to not put that onto others. And I think that's
which is the hard part,
which is the hardest part. And I think that's what we're missing in conversations of narcissism is it's like, why is it there?
Yeah.
And then it's the accountability and the responsibility of that person that is acting in that way to recognize it with it and heal it rather than put it on like, and whenever we come up against any part of ourselves that is acting from a hurt place in our relationship, very rarely, if ever, do we not like that part in that person. If there is accountability and like, okay, now I see this and I want to change, right? Like if there is a negative trait that we see in the other person coming up, we don't care it doesn't matter if it's narcissistic or whatever we would label it. That doesn't matter. It's the ability to look at it and work through it and heal it. That is where that connection rekindles and things like that.
Yeah.
And so
that's a key part of all this.
Exactly. Whereas I think a lot of people are like, oh, that person's a narcissist. Write them off.
They leave it at that. And like the problem, I think a lot of it comes down to language, like the way that we are labeling each other and like labels, I think do serve a really good purpose in a lot of ways. Like, and again, like the DSM created like borderline personality disorder, bipolar, narcissism, whatever ADHD, whatever diagnosis it is, those were created for clinicians to have a common language with how to discuss these symptoms.
And how to learn what works. Oh, you have these kind of symptoms. Yeah. How can we support that person to heal?
Yeah. But unfortunately, like a lot of them have taken on really negative connotations. Like, and it's not a all or nothing thing. Yeah. It's not like, okay, I have like, I see a narcissistic thing, so you're a narcissist, and that is you now. So it's like, what was I gonna say? I forgot my train of thought. It was a good one.
Narcissism, DSM, categorizing, labeling.
Oh yeah, labeling. Like if you, especially narcissism, like that has such a negative connotation. And that's why I wanted to talk about this one in particular, was because it's actually a window into really deep healing. If you really think about it, like our most narcissistic traits that we all have, and again, some way more than others, that is a window into our deepest hurt, fundamentally, right? So if you can learn to, again, it requires a relationship that, with some level of health and some level of awareness and willingness and capacity for that person to go into their narcissistic bits and work them, which like therapy, you know, psychedelics, a bunch of other stuff you can do. Like, and without that, like you're kind of, it's tough.
Careful.
But like narcissism is such a negative label. So as soon as you call someone a narcissist, it's just immediately, it's off-putting for them. They're going to be like, well, fuck you. I'm not a narcissist. Fuck you. You're a narcissist. And then this thing, like if we maybe change our language a bit and even said like, I don't know, like look at it as, again, like a aspect of narcissistic wounding.
I think whenever you say hurt part, that just that just for me, for my own person, like when I'm reflecting on my hurt parts, it's enough separation where it's, I'm not a piece of shit. You know, I did that shitty thing, behavior came out, but I am not shitty. That it's that hurt part. And it's like, okay, there's room to grow with it versus being labeled like a narcissist. Well, that label's just been thrown onto me and feels unfair because it is unfair. But then it doesn't create a space where it's safe to be like, okay, like I'm going to self-reflect. I'm going to be vulnerable. This is a safe relationship where I can express feeling shame about that behavior that I'm not proud of, but it's there. So what do I do with it? Like,
for sure. And like, I feel like people will listen to this and think like, well, you're excusing the behavior, like you're excusing the narcissist and you're saying that it's okay. I'm not, because like you do have to be responsible for the behavior. You're still doing it and it's still affecting that other person. Like you're putting your childy selfishness onto that person, which is not okay. And it's going to kill your relationship. But if you want that relationship to grow and to continue, like don't look at that person as a broken narcissist. Look at them as someone who is experiencing aspects of their narcissistic wounding or their hurt part. And it's coming up to protect and serve them, which it's coming onto you, but that is why it's happening. But if you can create like a safer dialogue within that conversation, and if you have two people, you know, who are like willing and able to go into it, like it is an opportunity for growth. And it is the hardest work, I think. Our deepest, darkest stuff is the hardest work to do. But it can be so powerful. And like the way that you and I relate to each other's narcissistic bits is like, you know, well, I can speak from my point of view, at least. Like,
I think it would be helpful if you shared
how narcissistic I am.
That you are a narcissist. No, but I think it would be helpful for you to like share like an example of a narcissistic trait and that we're not excusing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. Totally. I'm just trying to think of like I think a really common one and one that I definitely do is blaming. Is blaming the other person for whatever it is that's going on, you know, and like, and the selfishness that comes in that, like, it's all your fault. What's happening to me, like the fact that I am feeling this way, like it's your fault, you know?
But why do you do that? What is actually happening for you? Because you're not intentionally wanting to hurt the other person.
Because it's too painful for me to look at my own stuff. It's too painful for me to look at the reason as to why I actually feel threatened in that moment. Like what's it like? I'm trying to think of an actual example for myself. Like where I really blame you. You know what I mean? Or like when you feel it kind of come out.
See, again, like it's still hard for me to
go there,
to name it as narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
There's parts that happen.
Okay. Like when I'm in a really pissy mood, you know, and like we know where that comes from. When I like, let's say, don't sleep good, or I don't sleep good. I'm tired. I overworked myself.
Don't feel good about yourself in some way.
Maybe I got triggered by something. Maybe the house isn't clean because I dirtied it or something like that. And then because I am so sort of overwhelmingly stressed and actually feel pretty shitty about myself and how I am like in that moment, I see you and it just comes out onto you.
Yeah.
It becomes you. You're doing this to me. You're the problem. You know, that is narcissistic. It is like, it's just not, it's not an adult way of relating to someone. It's a childish thing of like, you're doing this to me. You're fucking, you know what I mean?
But when you break it down, it's not you just being like, fuck you. This is like all your fault. What the root of that is I don't know how to deal with this. Yeah. I'm overstimulated. I'm dysregulated. Yeah. I don't feel good about myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this on someone else because I can't deal with this.
Yeah, exactly.
And
well said.
And bless Carla. We love Carla. But being a young Italian boy, Mamacita Carla often would come in and do for you.
Yep.
So I wonder if that also came in to be like, I can't deal with this. I'm just not going to do it. Or someone else for me because
I never learned how to deal with stress in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never learned how to deal with stress in a good way.
Whereas I only dealt with stress.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. No, but like the even in that subtle way, which 2 examples of parenting. One is not worse than the other or better than the other.
Not blaming parents.
Not blaming parents.
No, parents, hardest job in the world.
That's why we're not going to do it.
Well, yeah, but that's never the goal, is to blame parents. It's like parenting is inevitably a fallible job. Like you are always going to mess up at just like anything, any hard thing that you do, you're always going to mess up.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's good to recognize like the shortcomings or where like your needs were not met. It's good to recognize that and recognize that they were doing their best, and to have both and learn to come to a place of empathy. Ideally, that's for me and my, like, I am privileged, I suppose, in my ability to do that with my stuff.
But like our 2 upbringings, I was treated very much as like, I am independent and I can be an adult and treated as an adult from a young age, which helped me grow and feel very confident in a lot of ways. But also at times didn't allow me to be able to be just like a kid. Because I had just like all of that kind of adult brain now. Whereas for you, it was, oh honey, I'll just do it for you. Oh, let me do this, you know, like, so totally. you didn't have to try and fail. You didn't have to feel confident in your ability to do it because someone would do it for you. And which is coming from such a loving place of being like, let me care for you. But it wasn't allowing you to then be able to do it yourself. And then now I think contributes at times to, I can't do this. I'm overwhelmed. Someone else do it. And then if it doesn't go well, then I can blame them.
Which goes back to like it developmentally. You know, I should have been trying and failing within my sort of range. But that didn't happen. It was the developmental, like, which now plays in that narcissistic way. And it's funny because and I think this often happens in relationships, is our stuff will play on each other's stuff.
So
like,
much.
Like you're used to like taking on the stress and taking care and doing that. And it's all me. Like I'll take it on. And I'm used to like, if I can't figure something out, or if I get overwhelmed or stressed out or overstimulated, it's on
Someone
you.
else do it.
Someone else. Like I can't even fucking begin to, like with the gear yesterday, like just freak the fuck out.
Just a quick clip.
Quick rage clip.
Rage clip example. I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
But like it's a window. It's a window in. And the fact that like we have been privileged enough to learn this stuff and to know this stuff and to do a bunch of therapy and to realize like, oh, these parts of me, they're not actually shitty and bad. They are like, yeah, they're a part of me because of all those things that I had to go through, and they still show up. And I don't really want them to show up in my adult relationship. So when they do, we are learning, you and I actively, not perfect, but learning how to work with each other's narcissistic parts, really.
And I think
Can't wait to talk about yours.
That was pretty narcissistic. I think that's where, when I think about people in my life that have had narcissistic tendencies, I have enabled them and not been able to see them to be I can see the hurt. I can see why the person is acting that way. And so then I will excuse that behavior and enable that behavior because, oh, well, he doesn't know how to do that because he was treated this way, rather than being like, wow, that really sucks that happened when you were little and now you're an adult and it's coming out on the person that you love.
Also, though, you did try many times to address that behavior.
Well, yeah.
Well, you did, though, many, many times. And his rooted narcissism would continue to manipulate and continue to blame and blame shift and put it back onto you. Oh, you're ungrateful, or you expect me to, all that shit that takes the focus away from what you were trying to bring up, that I have hurt you and I'm going to take that because I can't handle this. I'm going to toss it right back onto you. Everyone can relate to that. You bring up something with your partner. Well, you did this last week. Well, it's like, okay, fair enough. And if that's an issue, please bring it up. But like
right now, that's not
what we're doing. And that is what you did try to do, I think, probably 1,000,000 times. And because his is so deep rooted, like he had zero capacity to go there and just would toss it back onto you. And you stuck around is the unfortunate part, but you did try.
Yeah. Thanks. You
did.
I know. No, I know I did. I'd be interested to hear what you think my narcissistic parts are, because I feel like we briefly talked about it when we were in the car. And yeah, I just would be curious if you have an example of it. Would like my regression? Is that narcissistic?
Yeah, in a way, for sure. Like you are regressing. Like, yeah, I think so. That isn't one that really troubles me as much as others.
Oh no. What's the other one?
Well,
It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Knowing that people are going to like hear this. Well, like what we talked about today, that conversation about Russell Brand.
Okay.
The first conversation we had about it, that I think for you, like, was more narcissistic in a sense.
I don't understand.
I think sometimes there when you struggle to look at things from all sides, like the objective picture, and realize that it's not a simple, this person is this or this is this, and that issues often are very complex. You know, there are times in which you don't want to even go there, so you will judge more significantly and deem it as, it's this. No, it's this. No, it's this.
Okay. And that would be considered narcissist. You would consider that narcissistic.
At times, I think it is, because what I'm doing is kind of challenging you to look at like different aspects of it and think like, I don't know if it's that simple though, because like XYZ, you know, and I think the fact that you don't want to even entertain it is more of a, I guess you could say like a childish way of relating to it at times.
Like a stubborn way.
It is kind of like a stubborn, like, and I think there's like a bit to do in there with like intelligence, you know, like you're saying this and it's making me feel like I don't know. And I think that is like a difficult part.
And so why would that be considered like, I guess like because narcissism is thrown around so willy-nilly, I get confused of what narcissism, like what categorizes narcissism, because in like when I quickly think about narcissism, I think of like selfishness.
Yes.
And what you're describing is 100% what I do.
Yeah.
But why would that fall into a narcissistic wounding, in your opinion?
I think because it's like, it is self-serving in a way.
Okay.
Like you are not seeing me in that moment.
Right.
In a way. Do you know what I mean?
So narcissistic traits are self-serving.
Yeah. It's interesting, like the way you bring it up, because as soon as you do say narcissistic, I think you do think of like selfishness. And in all honesty, I'm not an expert on narcissism. Like I don't have this all worked out, but I do think that like most of our wounds, like most of our blocks, most of our like mental blocks in terms of like the shit we got to work on, there is a narcissistic younger element to it. Like I think if you look at like narcissism, underneath that is a wounded younger part of you that was sort of hurt at a younger age, and that thread is being tied down to that younger bit. For you, I think it ties down to you had a lot of validation placed on your intelligence, and like when you've sort of decided that something is right for you, and sometimes you'll base it on like the opinions of others, then it has to be. And if I come in and I like try to gently challenge that, or like, I don't know, look at a different point of view, it can be really threatening. And that's where you'll sometimes dig your heels in.
Yeah. And I think it is coming from like I don't want to feel stupid. I've made sense of this, and it brings me safety in a sense to think of this categorized and this placed in this box. So then if you blow that box open, I'm like, but how do I make sense of the world? So it's somewhat overwhelming in that way.
Yeah.
And then also a like morality. So like if I don't agree with this standpoint, or if I'm not defending these people or this oppressive act or something, then I am a bad person. I'm just like the rest of the people that are causing harm. And so that morality and like of being like, I want to be seen as a good person and also not want to hurt others, that's where the defensiveness goes in.
Yeah. And like to label that as narcissistic, I think is like difficult, but in a way, like adult you should know that that's not true.
And see you through that,
right?
Too.
Should know that like I'm allowed to be wrong or not know, or to not necessarily align with all these things. That doesn't make me a bad person. That doesn't make me not an ally. We're just having like a conversation here.
Yeah.
But I think it does sometimes go to those places. It's like when your adult brain gets blocked by your younger kid brain in a way. Like you could almost consider that like a narcissistic thing. Like whenever like you're chilling with someone and it's like, oh, they just like did something fucking weird. Like they just like switched a little bit from like, and I do it all the time. You know, from like, oh, I'm here and I'm adult and I'm with you, and like, you know, I can like take accountability.
Water.
On water. Where's the water?
On water. Lights.
Right. But seriously, like that is it. Like if meet my needs and meet them now. Right. And I'll get like a little bit pissy if that doesn't happen. But sometimes if I'm like, you know, I'm learning, like I need to be rested. I've worked out today. Like, and then I'm like,
walked the dog. I've walked you.
I've walked me, you know,
run around the block.
But then I'm more of an adult. Then I'm more like, I'm regulated. I'm like, I can take accountability and I'm more responsible. And it's like, no, she's not at your beck and call. Just because you want water, she's doing something, leave her alone. Give her a moment, right?
Yeah.
But that internal dialogue is more of an adult dialogue, whereas like water, that's a younger dialogue, you know?
Yeah.
And I would almost see it as like similar to, sometimes you're like, so like the conversation we had today, it was more like we're up here, we're like talking as adults, as opposed to there's like a childish stubbornness that's coming through where I'm like, what's.
And I think what it comes down to for me, like, is it's not so much like a selfishness, it's the stubbornness. That's the difference from our traits. I think for the most part, I think I could use a bit more selfishness.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's where yours shows up.
But I think so it's not necessarily that my needs are met to feel like I can be in adult mode. It's more like, am I safe with this person? Are you going, because I've had situations where I've perceived something to be safe and we're going to have a conversation about this and I'm going to share that this is something that I know about, and then it's switched on me, and then it's a debate, and then I do have to defend myself, and I am being judged and I'm being made fun of. And so for me, I think if I feel safe with you and secure with you and within myself, then I am able to be open to have those conversations more. But if we have had a difficult week, or I'm already feeling insecure because something happened between another person in my life, then I'm not going to have as much of the capacity.
Totally. Yeah.
Or it's harder to get to that capacity.
For sure.
And I think that's like an important part about the narcissistic traits, is it's like, you are not narcissistic. That is not you as a being.
And it fluctuates.
And it depends so much on our overall state. And I think, like, going back to the person that
fluctuates with most people. Some people are essentially in that all the time.
And I think when they are, it's because the foundation in their life is so messed up.
Sometimes I like conceptualize it in my head as a spider web. Like someone who had a real shitty childhood, like just deeply wounded parents, and just put that all onto them. And just, we all know those people, you know, and they're really difficult people.
Yeah.
They're really narcissistic. They're selfish. They're hard people to be around. Yeah. Unfortunately, those are the most hurt people. Yeah. You know, but like, if you're friends with them, or if you're in a relationship with them, it's like being in a spider web, like, or their spider web, I should say, is there's so many more, what are the parts of a spider web called? Someone will know this. Strands?
Tendrils.
Okay, let's say tendrils. I don't think that's the right word, but there's like 1,000 tendrils, like spokes of a bike that are, right? And it's so much thicker in there, and it's so much more like convoluted, and just like, it's way more sticky. When you're in there, it's like you're fucking stuck. Whereas the more, I think, kind of therapy you do, the more psychedelics you do, in a safe way, the more work you do on those parts, it's like you get to unravel those granules. What do you call them? Tendrils. And it's like you can kind of decrease them, or lessen the thickness of them. So being with that person isn't quite as stuck. You know, like more insight into the selfish bits, the narcissistic bits, the hurt parts. And
more separation with them.
Well, ironically, I actually think it's not separation. It is bringing them back. When you think of like, and there'll be a whole nother episode on like parts and like how that operates. But like when you're hurt, that part of you generally, if it's really bad hurt, splits off and goes to the subconscious, you know, and it's our work to bring that subconscious into the conscious. But the more hurt it is, the further away it is, the more split off you actually are from that part of you. And the harder it is to like have you and have that. Like, it's so hard for people to go into their own selfishness, because it's like, okay, but if I accept what this person's saying about me, then I am that. No, that's not the case. That is a part of you that you're in right now, right? That is behind the eyes or looking through. That's not all of you. It's a part, right? So like, we want to like have our like selfish narcissistic part, nurture it, like, to be cliche, but literally is like nurture it and bring it in and like take care of it and know, what does this part of me need? Like, you know what I mean?
And that's, I think, again, it's like when someone is labeled a narcissist, it doesn't allow them a space to safely learn what that is and allow it to grow up.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's the same with my anxiety. I used to hate that I was anxious.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the years and through therapy and all of these different things, being able to separate it enough of like, that's not all of me.
For sure.
That's not like my label for life.
Mm-hmm.
It is a part of me. And
Yeah.
the more I try to push it away and the more that I hate it,
Yeah.
the more it's going to fight back and be heard, because it originated from a place of I need to be I am anxious because I'm needing to protect myself. My environment is not safe. Something is wrong, which fundamentally is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm out in the jungle, I need to know if I'm not safe so that I can like get into fight or flight and I can do all the things that I need to do to survive.
Protection is adaptive.
But narcissists, like as an adult, those narcissistic tendencies are maladaptive.
Yes. I just need to adjust the ISO. I saw it got less than.
Oh, I think that
they are maladaptive. Like it's not going to be functional to act as a child in an adult relationship.
No,
it's just, but like we're all going to do it.
Yes.
And yeah, we're all going to do it. And like, I think it is also important to talk about, sorry, are you done? Do you want to keep going on that?
No, but I have another question when you're done this.
Okay. Ask that.
I think something that's hard for me, and happens in our relationship is, and you're so open to hearing feedback, which is very unnarcissistic.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are, encountering a narcissistic behavior, how do you address it?
It's funny. That's what I was going to bring up is like, well, partly, I think it's important to talk about the relationships in which it doesn't shift. And if you're with someone like that, you know?
Yeah. Like my past experience, like there were countless invitations and suggestions and pleas of like, can we work on this? And not saying like, hey, you're narcissistic, can we work on this? But just these behaviors, there was as many options to like, how can we work on this and heal this? And there was no willingness. That's different.
Yeah. Run.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Like, I think if you are bringing something up in your relationship and it's coming from a place of like, just genuine, like, this is how I feel. This is how you made me feel. I know it wasn't intentional, but like, this is how you made me feel. If their response, and if this continues to happen and there's no movement and there's refusal to go to therapy or refusal to go into it, if their response is, yeah, but I do this because you, or this is actually something that, right? If that's what it is, if it's the flip, fucking get out. If there's no movement, like, and they'll make it seem like your problem, you know? And that's like, it is a really dangerous thing when that is so entrenched in someone's personality. The response ideally should be, okay, I'm sorry that I hurt you, and I'm going to look at that and tell me more about what that was like. And that's really freaking hard because it's vulnerable and it puts you in a position of just vulnerability, but you gotta do it if you want your relationship to grow. Like,
and it's the same with friendships I've had where like, it's immediately flipped, and just had someone else in our life that experienced that from another person of like them being able to say, I'm really hurt and I want to heal this friendship. Like, how can we work through this? And the person being like, actually, you suck. Like, okay, well, first off, that's cruel because this person just felt vulnerable enough to say, I'm hurt. And in my situation, like both with friend and partner, it was very much like, I did take accountability to the ways that I was participating in something or have hurt that person and being like, okay, so what can I do? Like, how can I, what do you need for us to rebuild trust? Or, okay, you're not willing to do this. Like I'm hurt because of this behavior that you've done, or this hurt that you're causing me. How can we work together to heal this? And it's the like flip where then you start to question, like, am I a person?
Yeah. Am I too much? Am I being ungrateful?
Yeah. Am I even like it? Yeah. I'm asking for too much. This person has so much pain that like I'm expecting too much of them, and I need to lower my expectations.
Yeah.
I have high expectations, and that's unfair. Just all the ways that they start to like gaslight you to think that like whatever need that you have is so outrageous. And
often from men to women.
Yeah. Well,
often.
I know, but I've also feel like I've had more female narcissists in my life than male narcissists.
Yeah, you probably have actually. Yeah.
Yeah, like when I really think about more stereotypical narcissism. And so yeah, I there was no room. Especially in the friendships, it was like done. Like there was no willingness, there was no conversation.
It's a good word.
There has to be room, and then there was no room in my relationship as well, but it was a bit more subtle and like more of a just like slow chip away versus a like slam it in your face.
Yeah.
I think it's again hard to like, there's been times where you have been narcissistic, or you have been kind of like like there's been a manipulative behavior. A poopy behavior. But I still don't feel like I can say like, hey Matt, you're being manipulative right now, because it's not.
I wouldn't use that language because it's so off-putting.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think that people need to, it's like, how do you
broach it?
Yeah. How do you bring it up with someone? Because I would feel really uncomfortable if someone said that to me.
Yeah. I mean, I would too. And I don't think that that's a great use of language to even, because it like implies that they're coercing you, and which they probably are, but they're not doing it on purpose.
No.
But like, yeah, if you could say like, I don't know, what you did there, like it made me feel XYZ, and I just don't feel like that's fair because of yada, yada, yada. And you got to take it in. You got to take it in. And like what you said about there being room, like for there to be room, that person needs to feel like they're fundamentally okay. Right. And that's like huge. Most narcissists, and especially people who are like pretty full blown narcissists, on a deep core level, they don't feel okay about themselves. So when you even touch, it's like, it is actually, and it's so ironic because they present so strong and like together, and there's just the ways that they can talk around, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Well, there's so many people that are popping up in my mind.
The way that they can talk around things the way they can talk their way through things. If you imagine like a bubble around them, like a glass bubble, is actually so fragile that they actually like on a core level don't feel very okay with themselves. And so if you even like poke a little bit, you're going to shatter their world.
Yeah.
And that's like the part that I think a lot of people are missing. However, it's not your responsibility to not shatter their world. Like you got to have your feelings. And if that's shattering, if like you hurting my feelings, if I can't express that to you, if that shatters you, and if you throw that back onto me 10 times out of 10, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It is not going to work. I'm not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy. If that's happening to you, you're not going to be happy with that person. Like most likely.
No.
And like, there does have to be some movement. There has to be some sort of like, you have to take it in and know, like, if you're the narcissist, know that like, you're not bad. You're not a bad person. This is happening for you because this is how you learn to be. But now you're an adult, and like your partner's bringing this to you, and like, go look at that shit, man. Go look at the ways that you were hurt. It's not okay what happened to you. Like, you know, and learn to work on it.
But I think that's the tricky one too, of when I think about the people that in my past that I'm not that have no place in my life anymore because of narcissistic behaviors. There was no capacity for growth.
No.
There was a lack of willingness, but also like fundamentally from what I knew about their upbringing and their gender and their like how they've been treated in society, there was no safety for them to be able to go into that unless they had some wild ass breakthrough, which like wish you well, hope that happens for you. But like I don't, we often say like I don't think in this lifetime, this isn't the lifetime that so and so is going to.
And sometimes people just trigger, like we will trigger different people, some people just aren't meant to be friends or partners because of what they trigger in each other. I'm not saying that it excuses, I know who you're talking about. It doesn't excuse them, but like you're a particular hard person to be with because of who you are.
So triggering,
but because you are like a really kind, sweet person. And for them, like that's too much. Like that is a behavior. I think we're talking about the same person, had to attack because they actually, that behavior for them was seen as weakness from their parents. I think they put that on you.
100%. Yeah. And so again, it was like, when someone has narcissistic traits, it is not you cannot just write them off.
No.
That's not how it works. However,
well, you shouldn't start with writing them off. I don't think. It should be like, see if you can educate them on what it is. Cause like I hear people sometimes just be like, well, I told my partner they were a narcissist. And it's like, they're not going to respond well to that. Like they don't know what that is. Like I barely know what it is. Like I kind of do, but like.
And if you're told you're a narcissist, that just immediately makes me feel like I'm immobilized in shame.
Yeah, the walls go right up. You're just boxing me into shitty human.
And that you must perceive that I'm so bad that you're going to label me a narcissist when really it's, hey Matt, like that behavior, like it feels really selfish or like I need you to see me in this moment right now. How can I help you? But like I also need to take care of myself. For like rather than being like you're a narcissist and you're selfish.
Yeah. Probably not going to go well.
We probably wouldn't be together. Yeah. But I think it is that fine line of like I will name if it's safe. I will name that like this person is hurting me in some way. This behavior is hurting me in some way. How can we work together on this? How can I support you to learn more about this? And if they're not willing to do that, then it's the chance of like, this might be when I step away.
Then you got to think about taking a hike.
Because I do think that I was going to say that like narcissists prey on certain types of people, but that in itself is again like categorizing these like awful people that prey on people. It's, I think, harmful language.
Well, yeah, but also truth to it.
There is an element of when I think about myself or friends that have experienced those like narcissistic people in their life, there is
hurt people. Like you can go back to that.
Yeah.
Like you can almost look at narcissism in that way as like they're a hurt person and they will go towards sometimes certain types of people and hurt them.
And I think it's the type of people like a narcissist is not going to go up to you who's very confident and self-assured and like and selfish in a healthy way of being like, if someone is not treating me with respect, fuck you, bye.
Yeah.
They're going to come after me.
Yeah.
Who has so much empathy and but your childhood and like, maybe I need to give the benefit of the doubt and like, maybe if I just like overextend myself and like make sure that I like walk on eggshells around you, then like maybe, and I'll just like slip this therapist card like across the table subtly, but like, don't worry, you don't have to go.
Yeah,
like,
and I'll do it for 10 years.
And I'll just lay on my bed.
Yeah.
Like,
whereas I'm like, you didn't cook my eggs right. Take a hike.
Literally, which is not great for my abandonment wound, but anyways.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
I know, I'm teasing, but the eggs I was trying to cook you eggs the other day and you did push me out of the way so that you could do it.
I did. I mean, yeah, I did.
But that's an interesting concept of like that narcissistic people that are stuck in narcissistic behaviors will sometimes put those onto people that are not as confident or who are more vulnerable, or
They can manipulate them.
Who's easy to be manipulated? Me.
Yeah.
Like,
and who will actually take care of me and like do it. No, not do it for me, but like who will continue to be there.
Yeah. Like, and
I see. Yeah, I see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just, like, in that relationship, it was like, I'm not going to challenge it. I'll just do it. I'll just take care of you. I'll just put out the fires so that you don't actually have to do things. Yeah. Like, I wasn't meaning.
I thought you were talking about me.
No.
I took that pretty personally.
No. No. Okay. That wasn't about you. More like, the enabling behavior. Like, who can I.
You're talking about. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Not you.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. Did I hurt your feelings?
Well, I thought you were talking about me, and I was like, oh, I hope I don't do that like that much.
Like what?
Like make you do everything for me.
No.
Okay. No. Sensitive topics.
It's hard.
Difficult to talk about, like openly. Like it's challenging.
Do you feel like narcissism is more common in a certain gender?
Probably males, just because I think, well, probably, I don't know. My guess would be in males, just because women are generally, so I guess in Western culture, the culture I grew up in, are more willing to look at their feelings, and women grow up talking about their feelings. They grow up like that's a safe sort of territory for gals most times. Is like girls get together and they talk about things. Guys get together and they do things. We'd play sports. We'd play video games. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't a lot of like, how are you doing today?
Yeah. What's your narcissistic
were your feelings hurt today? You know, there isn't a lot of that. So I think men in general, and like that No Bad Parts book, it talks about this. Like men are taught, I think from an early age, to shut down emotion and to be strong. And like anything that kind of like tries to penetrate that is too threatening, you know, whereas women generally are more sensitive to like, how are you receiving me? Like, how am I making you feel bad? Am I making, generally speaking? But it's like, it's in women, I think too, for sure. But I would probably err on the side of like, men tend to be a little less willing and a little less able to look at difficult parts of themselves emotionally, because it's not as practiced. We just didn't do it as much. Like I didn't really start digging into my shit until I was like 22. And the only reason that was the case is because I was in grad school for counseling and I freaking had to.
Eventually should go to counseling if I'm going to become a counselor.
Straight up though, you know, like I had no idea, like the things I was uncovering. I was like, I had no idea that was like, first of all, something that I even have a right to be upset about, and like that actually did affect me in that way. And that's why I feel that way. Like, that's crazy. I just thought that was just me. Like that was there from the get-go.
Everybody has this, or like, or it's just me and I'm fucked up and I don't want to tell anybody that I'm fucked up.
Yeah.
I would also be curious if there is a social acceptance, more of a social acceptance, or
of men being narcissistic.
Of men being narcissistic, because narcissistic are very much more like seen as masculine behaviors, and like women being selfish is a lot less accepted than men being selfish. Yeah,
and there's like an intelligence thing there too. Like I think a lot of narcissism can come off as like, I'm a know-it-all, like I know, you know, and like men typically it's like
there's space for that. Whereas
women it's like, oh, she's a know-it-all, or you know what I mean? There's maybe like a little more judgment, generally speaking. And I don't know any statistics on this. This is just my general kind of wonderings. I mean, generally speaking, I don't know a lot on the statistics of things. I just kind of go by what I've been trained and learned and see like in my practice. But that would be my guess. But yeah, totally more.
Because when you think about like like even the selfishness that you have, that I'm like, oh, like and that through our relationship I have taken pieces of being able to say like, I don't want to go and do that. And you're like, that's okay. Then you don't have to go and do it. And I'm like, but like, all of the.
But that's a more healthy kind of
version of selfish.
Yeah. Like for me, like that's not like when someone asks me to do something and I'm like, I don't feel like doing that today. I don't think that's narcissistic. I think that's like a healthy kind of like selfishness in a way. Because there is a healthy degree of like selfness that we need.
But that's not what I was meaning, is like, it's even so hard for me to be that level of selfish.
Oh, yeah.
And that's so ingrained, I think, for women, of like not even being able to say no.
Yeah.
That then if someone
put people's needs above yours.
Yeah. And so then if someone is very overt in their selfishness or has more overt like narcissistic behaviors, as a woman, I think that would be like almost like red flagged more so than for a man.
Yeah, totally.
You think of someone that's like a hotshot lawyer. They're praised. Like that environment probably fuels a lot of like, oh, they're very selfish, but they're getting their shit done and like they're saying it how it is. And that environment fuels a lot of or condones a lot of narcissistic behaviors. Whereas like me, if I all of a sudden started being like super narcissistic, everyone in my life would be like, what the fuck?
They call you a bitch.
Like, worse. Like my job would be not good. Working with the public. Nope.
Yeah, no, I think like if you did group up all the narcissistic traits, like men probably are judged less for having them, most likely.
Yeah. And I think there's like men are praised in ways that maybe not necessarily are narcissistic, but on the extreme side could be like
of achievement and
being like really focused on the self and putting the self first, whereas women are not praised in those ways. Only
more recently, I would say, like with like the wage gap kind of closing, and I mean, women
more
like
progress towards
like now women, it's like it's normal for there to be like a super successful businesswoman, like that's a normal thing, whereas 30, 40 years ago, not so much. But for men, it's pretty much always been there.
And like the gender reversal of like a stay-at-home dad and the successful working mom or whatever.
Love to be a stay-at-home dad. Pretty much am.
We both want to stay at home. With no kids. Just our babies.
Just the babies. I forgot what your question was before I went on my tangent.
You addressed it. It was about like, how do you bring it up with someone? And I think it goes back to gently, kindly.
The first time, second time, after that, it's like, okay.
And also understanding that person's capacity. Like, and also understanding, I think, like when you are in relation with a narcissist, hold yourself accountable as well to enabling their behavior. That's really, really hard because you might get...
Well, they're going to entice you to enable it.
And so at least recognizing, because I didn't recognize until I was outside of the relationship to be like, well, of course they didn't do this for me because I never even asked. Because I knew I couldn't. I knew I'd be instantly disappointed. And so I gave up. Like, that's a whole other thing. But I can recognize why certain behaviors continued because I didn't challenge them. It wasn't safe to, and it wasn't going to result in any other reality. But I do think it is important, if you are in relation with someone that has narcissistic tendencies, to just recognize, like, are there any behaviors that I am doing that are encouraging that wound to bleed onto me? Because if I don't simply address it with you, if I don't say, actually, I like, if you had like water, if I just every time got you water whenever you asked for it, makes me sound like
an absolute prick.
You don't do it anymore.
Please address the people and say that that's not...
Matt doesn't do it anymore.
No, I do, just not like Not like that. I don't snap. What I will do is I'll just be like, water, hun, water.
When I'm talking about something.
Yeah, because I need water.
Yeah.
Need to have my basic needs met.
But
Else
if
can't function.
if I just did that every single time, if I just appeased your
Yeah.
need every single time,
Yeah, it's a good point, actually.
it's not that your
You're
behavior,
reinforcing it.
If you're reinforcing it. Yeah.
Whereas if you were to be like, I'm actually doing something right now. Can you wait a minute?
Yeah.
And then for me, because it's actually a really good example. Because like, if I'm young and I'm just like, because my mom was really good at meeting all like certain needs, right? And it was just like
all hours
fed,
of the day.
like basic needs met. Italian boy. For all those Italians out there, you know what I'm talking about, right? But like, it's actually not developmentally great to just meet the need immediately and to not let the person do it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm doing that to you, if I'm like, can you get me water? And if you were to say like, you're kind of being the good parent to me in that way. If you were to say, can you just wait a minute? Like, I'm just busy, but maybe you can get it, or maybe I can get it for you after.
Mm-hmm.
And then ideally, like if you do it in a nice, kind way, then I can take it and be like, oh, that's right. I am a freaking adult. Like I can actually just go get my own water, you know?
And I think like,
But if you were to be like, can you fucking wait?
that,
Then I'm going to be like, well, can you fucking not say fuck or something? You know what I mean? Like that's when it explodes. Like,
and that's
try to be kind.
And that's another thing I think in relation with someone that is having those behaviors is like, it's so tricky to address when you are hurt or something is bothering you or things like that. But if you let it fester,
Yeah.
and you hold resentment and then it comes out,
Yeah,
person,
well, then they will use it as ammo.
and they will hit you over the head with it.
Yeah,
Like,
and that is something to like keep track of. Like for me, my rule of thumb is bring it up from a place of like authenticity, like genuinely, this is how you've made me feel.
I feel because,
And kind. Be kind with it. Say it kindly and gently,
mm-hmm.
and then it's on them
Mhm.
because you've said it, and you've said it in a non-threatening way. It's kind. And then if they still don't take it in, if they still shit on you and blame you, then the fuck.
Mhm.
Then it's on them. Then
Mhm.
it's like, hey, you're being really rigidly narcissistic-y, shitty kind of.
Yeah. But I think that's another challenge of like, there might be times where you can't bring it up,
Yeah.
but the what is in your control as the person that's not exhibiting those narcissistic behaviors is like trying not to build up resentment,
Yeah.
and trying not to reinforce or enable the narcissistic behaviors.
For all you people pleasers out there, I'm one of them. Maddie is queen. Do you say queen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jinx, personal jinx, talk, yell me a pop. That game?
No, I was homeschooled. I didn't have any friends.
Me and Scott would always do that. Jinx, personal jinx, pop, talk, you owe me a pop. Then the first person to talk owes the other person a pop. No, the person who says it, then the other person talks, they owe them a pop.
I also was only allowed pop on my birthday.
Oh, really? Oh, that's so sad. Yeah, I had a lot of pop.
We should talk about our, like, well, we should do a podcast one time on me being homeschooled and weird.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. I'm sure there's plenty of homeschooled individuals out there.
They're all weird. You know who you are.
Oh, you're awesome. You're awesome. You're all awesome. Everyone's awesome in their own way.
Some of us are weird.
Everyone's a little bit weird. If you're not weird, you're...
How's your rib knuckle?
Knuckling. I have a broken rib. Well, I had a broken rib and now it's a knuckle. They said it would heal. It didn't. He said, oh, that'll heal perfectly fine. That won't be there anymore. Okay. Might have been my fault because
Yeah, what did you do?
I returned to action a little too quick.
You competed in a jiu-jitsu tournament.
No. I
broke it in a jiu-jitsu tournament.
and then had one more match, but I didn't know it was broken. But then I went back to the gym not the jiu-jitsu gym, but I was in the gym a couple weeks later.
Just pumping iron.
No, actually the first thing I did, because I could barely you can't flex your core. So I was in the sauna lifting 3-pound weights. like not engaging my core at all. I was like this. Doing whatever I possibly could.
Just so dysregulated.
Sweating though, because I was in the sauna. That was a good chat.
I need to eat.
Yeah, thinking about those cookies. I think that was pretty good. Pretty good. Like, I would like to get a little more knowledge on different aspects of narcissism and how it shows up and the wounding aspect of it. A lot of this comes from like, my training and curiosities and what I see in therapy, like daily and stuff, and just, and the different ways that I've learned to look at the self in a more compassionate way, which I think is just something we all could just use that. And I'm obviously going to keep always bringing it back to that, is like the throng.
The thronglets.
Have to do one on the thronglets.
Okay.
Oh my God, I want to do it right now.
No, honey, I need to
Maybe
eat.
just a teaser. Maybe just a teaser.
B is queen of the thronglets.
B's pretty selfish.
But she wants everybody to be
He's a little
gentle.
narcissistic.
B is,
Bang.
but she wants
She
everybody
has some good thronglet qualities.
gentle and kind. Everybody has to be gentle and kind.
Yeah.
That is her core value.
Yep. The thronglets. Should we call her there? That was good.
Ugh.
No idea how good it sounds.
That was terrible.